Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys are at. It's 11/17 January. This is the follow up to the 2 week swing trading video that I made where I hired a consultant, an AI consultant. I wanted to get give everybody an idea of where I'm at and really what I'm trying to accomplish out of this. So, trying to build a strategy for swing trading and just seeing how you can make some money and how I'm looking at it for myself. And this is only for me. Everybody else has their own risk tolerance and they should all look at themselves. But just to kind of give you through the process of what I'm doing. So, the first set of stocks that you guys remember, there were six specifically. Now, I'm doing paper trading. I'm not doing real trading just because first I want to make sure the strategy works and see how it's going to work. Now, a couple of things that I found out looking at the strategy over the first week that there was seemed to be some, I think, some challenges in the whether I picked the right stocks and not the entry points and not the um, stop loss or the profit taking points, but really just were they the right stocks to actually swing trade. Now, with that being said, I did question the AI consultant and kind of drill the consultant and asking him, why I didn't see these things working out like I thought, and then I got some feedback about the way they gave me the strategy. There was a couple of steps that were missing, and so I said, okay, well, I needed to reevaluate on how to basically automate some of the other parts that are missing to see if I could get better stocks to trade. Now, I do have other mechanisms. I look for stocks and think about entry points, but I was trying to get a more concise playbook to do more accurate trading. So, with that being said, um, next week I'll pick another set of stocks. I'm going to continue with these and I'll keep tracking just to see if any stop out or any hit the profit just out of curiosity. But I'm going to be looking to figure out the. I've updated the strategy. I haven't completed it totally, but once I do, I'll do another cast. At the same time, also I'm creating a piece of software to be able to track the trades and do some analysis on the trade. And I'm thinking maybe if any of you are interested, you guys could maybe beta test it. Not sure. I'll first have to see how it comes out, but let's kind of get into it. So, if you guys remember, these were the six um, stocks that I selected, and we'll kind of go through each one of them and see how it kind of works. But let me kind of walk through the process. Once they're selected, if you guys remember this particular sheet that I actually pointed out, um, I'm going to go through probably what are probably the most important. First is your account size. Whatever that is, this one I'm trading with a virtual paper of $50,000, and I'm only risking 1% of the total account. So the way this works is basically you put in your entry point of when you once you select as a stock, you put in when you bought it and you put the price. And then it basically calculates the stop loss. Now, stop loss is not really calculated automatically. You have to actually calculate it. Now. You could ask AI to give you what they think the stop losses are. Um, I have basically this formula, and it's based off of indicators that are on the actual chart. So I do some manual, um, I guess, calculation if I have to create the ATR 14, but the ATR 14.3, this was the actual number. So let's look at the first one at RSI, just so you can kind of get an idea of what that is. So if you look at RSI, you'll see. Well, I kind of put here what the numbers. I guess let me just go back for a second. So once you put the two numbers in, it basically kind of calculates all these things where it tells you how many shares you should buy, right? Um, what was the dollar risk, which is the account size, which is $500, and what your risk per share is, which is $1.68, and kind of gives you your three different profit targets. Now, the second trim level is just optional, um, and then it basically says the first one, when you hit the first profit, you sell this many shares, um, and then the second one, you sell the remaining shares. Now you could, I don't have the the interim one here, but because I'm really doing just the first and the last. Um, and then it kind of tells you what the profit would be with this, which in this case would be $1,500. If you stopped out, you're going to lose $500. So this is kind of, it's because that's your multiple of 3R, right? So 3. So this kind of how it works. So I basically put these on the chart, and you'll see RSI when I entered at 1977, um, that it went down, and the stop loss was 1809. It didn't go out. It's still actually, so I'm still in the position according to this. Now, when I talked about the ATR, right? You'll see here that the support underneath it is at 18. It's about 1808, 1805. So that's why I chose this. You'll see something later. When I didn't choose this number because of the exit, because it's basically your support, um, where you would actually kind of stop out. So you see for 50% profit is 22.29, 23.97, and 28.81. Now, like I said, I'll continue to go with that. The next one was UNF, UniFirst Corporation. So here you'll see also that the ATR was basically on January 5th was about here, and it was at 179.24 stop loss. And obviously, I'm not out. My first profit would be at 225.94. You can see that I still have an uptrend here, right? I still have support going up. So this looks promising. Now, how long will it take to get there? Not sure. But here's the 3 numbers to calculate it. The next one was SPX Technologies. And in this case, so now this is the different case what I was talking about. In here, you'll notice my entry was at 205.44. And the ATR 14.3 was above the number, so obviously this is not a support. This means that this is resistance that you would pop off of. So with that being said, you have to look at the ATR 14 on January 5th and do the calculation, right? I think the calculation I have, what I calculated was, and I'll take a look at the sheet, was so when I say to do the calculation with ATR 14, you'll see that you have to multiply by 3 because that's your stop loss times the number, which was 6.469, and you come up with a number of 19 and 488. So you take this and then you subtract it. You subtract it from your entry loss or your entry price, and that gives you your stop loss. So that's the difference. So either the ATR 14.3 is your support, or you calculate the stop loss based on just the ATR 14, and then kind of goes through, everything where you had the free, take profit is 1,500 on the first one, and I'm sorry, you trim is 750, and then another 715, so you get a total profit of $1,500. That's where your total risk, if you stop out, is $500 on this particular stock. So you kind of see where we're at. Then NVIDIA, the entry was at 188.12. The stop loss is 173. Still kind of trading sideways. I just put the final and the 50%. But you can see The 200 SMA still moving up. The MACD is still kind of reset in the middle. It's still kind of the RSI is in no man's land here at about 50, but heading in towards earnings in February. So we'll see how that's going to go. But you can see in the Weinstein candles, this is basically in stage 3, which means people are basically selling the stock, right? So it's not stage 1 or 2, but we're still there. And then I'm going to skip over to SoFi. So SoFi was close. So you can see in SoFi that the entry was at 29.28. We did kind of go up on the 21 EMA, and then on the 9-day SMA. You can see our EMA that we're kind of above it, but now it's becoming resistance above it. There's not a 200-day here. I don't know. We look at the weekly. The 200 days down here. But for this, you really need to look at the daily. And I trade on the 4-hour actually. So on the 4-hour, you can see that it's below the 200 SMA, which is basically not a good signal for me on this because I, like I said, do trade on the 4-hour. Now, if we go back to the daily, you can see that the trim is at 34, then I sell out at 460. I suspect with the MACD, we had the cross here that probably going to maybe this next week, if nothing changes, it's heading down towards oversold. So I suspect that this will actually stop out. Now, the one that did stop out was Qualcomm. So here you'll see, we'll take kind of like what happened here. So with Qualcomm, I had to do the calculation for the stop loss, and it stopped out, and it was a loss of 500. Was it 500? Maybe I might not be correct. Let me take a look. So yeah, full position was 500. So I did stop out, and it was at 500. And fortunately, that's kind of what happened. And but I stopped out on. In all actuality, I stopped on January 15th. I was out, right? So I'm out of this trade at this point, even though I'm kind of watching it. It actually, actually, I thought it might have come out on the 14th, but it really stopped out on the 15th. So what does that mean? Where am I living at this point? So with that being said, I am actually tracking in my Seeking Alpha. I create a portfolio. So you can see here that I'm out. And where I'm at today, right, is I'm at a $28.42 profit. That's where I'm at based on this strategy. Actually, it's not even 28.42 because in reality, I did lose 500 from here. So I'm actually in the red. So I'm at what are 470 $72 somewhere there, right? So I'm in the red some by that because I'm actually out the $500 because you can put here minus 500 because that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll continue to track this, but that's how it kind of went. So going forward, I'm going to do a different type of strategy, and I actually use Sidekick to kind of build some of these new scanners that I'm going to be using to better look at tradable stocks, and then I'll post those 5, and I'll post these out so you guys can see the charts themselves. Um, and you can kind of study them. If you have any questions, you definitely reach out to me, and so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. Uh, it is kind of interesting to see this, and like I said, I'll keep this running just to see if they all go out. Now, I'll compare that to my new strategy, where it's a new strategy, but it's kind of more of a refined strategy on picking even more higher quality stocks. And then I'll do that for another 2 weeks to see, where we're at on that one, and and hopefully that'll we'll see where I land. Anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Hope everybody understands if what's going on, and if you have any questions, please feel reach out to me. I'm looking forward to kind of building this channel. I'm going to add some more. I'll actually put some tutorials on, hopefully over the next couple of weeks as well, on my YouTube channel, and also on Substack, as I try to do some more analysis on some of the other things. And my goal is just to help you all become better traders and have some idea on how things are going. All right, everybody. Okay, thanks everybody. Have a good day, good evening, and be safe.